So I feel it to be perhaps not necessary, but at the very least to some degree of considerable import that I provide you guys, whomever may be watching, with some measure of insight into my personal experience or perspective, my outlook from this end of the lens. The last video I posted, I, I I apologize that it's been so long since then. The fact of the matter is that it should not have been, and it really wasn't. The last video I posted, I ran on too long with the introduction, and so I had to upload that so I could erase it because I only have so much time on my phone. I don't have enough space to record a second video without erasing the first one. And as I said, I ran on too long, and so I had to get rid of it. And I had intended to almost immediately post a follow-up to conclude that, episode, what have you, but which I did. I did make a second video relatively, from your perspective, almost immediately, but the fact of the matter is that I ran into some trouble, as I most often do when out in the world, and I got caught up, and in fact wound up deciding against posting that and deleted it. But had I posted that video, it would have been like, for you, maybe you saw that video and then, perhaps you ran to the store or you went to work for like half a shift around a lunch break or something, or maybe you tended to the kids or the animals or what have you. Maybe you just sat on your ass and watched television or played video games, and that's okay. We've all done it. I used to do it. I don't anymore, but I understand the appeal. However, I should like to say that it would be advised, and in fact preferred, that you use any spare time that you do actually accumulate for the purposes of, utilizing this magnificent technology you have at hand to engage programs or informations that improve your general mentality, educate you in some way, and provide you values and install new programming that allows for you to blossom as a person, so to speak. That is to say, I should like to direct you all to use whatever spare time you have to the advantage of learning and growing and bettering your livelihood, because, well, on one hand, I am in fact qualified to direct you, which we'll get into that in a second, but on the other hand, personally, I have a problem with wasted time, people wasting my time, most specifically. But we really need for you guys to grow. We need for us all to grow as a community, in, psychologically speaking. We need to embrace the challenge and the opportunity of educating ourselves beyond what we've been handed by society, which, getting back to my story, had I posted the video that I did in fact make directly afterwards, it would have seemed to you as though it was posted, just a few moments later, like maybe a few hours had passed, and you're like, oh, well, there's another video already. Whereas, from my perspective, I had already been all over this city twice over. I had run into several troublesome difficulties, obstacles, opponents even. I ran into various troublesome issues and persons. I even managed to acquire a few exceptionally valuable assets for the initiative, which this channel is not directly connected with the initiative. It's outside of it for the most part, but I can't avoid speaking to it because it's my soul, really. It's who and what I am, and it defines me, which is what this video is about, really. The point of that story being that throughout the course of engaging and building the initiative, since I activated it almost a year ago, maybe even a year ago now, I'm not sure. Maybe just about a year ago now, maybe a little over, actually, that I actually activated it. And before that, I had not remembered much of myself. I didn't know really anything about myself. I was shut down. I was locked out. I was isolated. I knew what I knew. I gained my own knowledge. I pretty much kept it to myself. When working with people, my brother and I building the initiative, which we actually began building this, the structure for this on 9/11 when the towers came down as a response to that. We intended to launch a campaign to in an effort to be a response to that obvious distress call from the planet, from the earth, that 911 call to all of us that we're in danger, something needs to be done. And we don't really regard that particular instance so much because it's become so troublesome insofar as generally comprehending it, and everybody has their own ideas as to what happened that day and who was responsible. um, I'm not going to go ahead and point any fingers. We've launched our own investigations. We've come to our own conclusions, and I'm not going to say, who we think may be responsible or what we think actually happened, well, what we know actually happened. But I will go ahead and say that if you are of the belief that the responsible parties are the people that the media has told you are, then I'm sorry for you that on one hand you are in fact in the dark on the whole matter, and on the other that you are so easily misled. And I apologize if that comes off as being offensive in any way, but I feel for you. I'm sorry if I come off as being offensive, but sometimes you got to be a harsh teacher. And I am in fact working to be a teacher here. I've got a lot to learn myself, but I have a lot to give too. In any case, I had shut myself down for a long, long time. Essentially, we would seek out other spotters actively, people that had the knack for it, people that had the innate potential, and we would train them one on one. We procure their interest in the matter, and we would train them to work for the initiative, and they would go forth and do their own thing. And we have many operatives out there doing their own thing, launching their own campaigns, building their own initiatives as we speak. However, in, aside from engaging students one on one, I just kind of locked myself away in my room for the most part, played video games, and watched television, shit like that. But eh, what happened is there was a sort of an accident that occurred. I don't care to get into the specifics of that story, but something happened that unlocked all of the memory I had lost. The memory from my childhood and my adolescent years, from high school, from pretty much my entire life, almost up to the age 19 or so, was just gone, just blank spot to me. And something happened about a year ago that unlocked it, just opened up all my memory and gave me myself back, and all my experiences came to me. All the intelligence that I had in fact acquired was available to me suddenly. And so at that point I jumped up, I activated the initiative, and I got to work on building it. Which, if you're watching this and you're unfamiliar with the initiative, you don't know what it is, go ahead and look into it, or feel free to contact me and speak to me about it. If you're interested, go to Facebook and check out Status Initiative, or go to my channel and watch the videos about that. They'll be labeled Status Initiative. They'll talk about the themes for our face page. It's it's a group that's dedicated to uniting people, and reaching, achieving common understanding, whilst teaching whatever we can to whomever will learn. But the throughout the course of building the initiative, when I started engaging all the members one on one via Messenger, and getting involved in their personal lives and dealing with their issues, because my primary training is going to have to fall into the area of psychiatry or psychology. I'm a mental person. I'm a mind oriented person, and I'm very good with dealing with that sort of thing. I can handle those sorts of issues with ease. And so most of the members would have some kind of troubles, mainly originating in their minds. And mind you, most things do originate in the mind. So it's pretty easy to solve most any problem you have by dealing with it from a psychological perspective. And so that's what I would do for the members. I would counsel all of them. And in doing so, whilst working the page and working two jobs at the same time, I began to just kind of accidentally train myself in a certain way, what what allowed for me to build this skill for stretching time, kind of warping time and gravity. And if you don't understand what I mean by that, or you're skeptical about the idea of it, I can explain it to you perfectly if you want to talk to me, or I'll make a video about it if you go ahead and request it. But I'm not going to do what you want me to do unless you tell me to, because I want you guys to get up and actually speak here and put comments. So I'm going to try and do whatever I can to push you toward that. In any case, I had learned to kind of, I suppose you could look at it as though I'm compacting experience in the shorter periods of time. But really what it seems to be is extracting time from pieces of existence, really just places and instances, extracting time that's already available and making use of it. It's kind of really wasted time for the most part. It's a potential time that needs to be engaged in order to become kinetic. And time is a resource, mind you. By the way, time is actually a physical resource that you can make use of. Time is not a dimension. For some of the people that I've spoke to recently, specifically the assets that I've acquired, you can tell me as many times as you want to in as many different ways how time is a dimension, a fourth dimension, and why you think that is the case. But I actually happen to know firsthand because I utilize it on a moment to moment basis. Time is an aspect of dimensionality. Time, you could say, is a kind of a side effect of there being dimensionality. Ultimately, it's like an illusion that kind of just happens because of space. And time and space are the same thing in that regard. And of course, I can explain all that too if you want me to, but you got to ask for it. Anyways, the point being that, you know, whilst I posted that video and then it would have seemed, just a few short moments later, I posted another one for you, for me, days worth of experience had passed already in those few short hours. And that happens every time. That happens every day. And most especially when I have nothing in particular to be doing, when I'm in a position where I'm incapable of dealing with the initiative, or dealing with, really, the initiative is all that I really care about anymore. So that's mainly what I'm doing, is working on expanding that, building that, helping out the people that are involved, working on the campaigns and projects, which has now gotten to the point where it requires me to get out and move around the area and speak to people directly. So it's cumbersome, but it's getting there. And most of the time I have to do a lot of this on my own, because my teams have a tendency to kind of wander off and lose track of what they're doing. And I do have to reiterate for the 100,000th time that, this is not to be regarded as an imposition. We have a tendency, we have in fact been, as a society, by media, by history, by public education, by whatever is, everything that bombards us on a daily basis, most of us have been programmed, really indoctrinated, to kind of disregard anything that is of actual importance, and kind of just maintain a focus on useless distractions. And it's really bad. I mean, a lot of you guys are in bad shape, I'm sorry to say, and we'll get into what I'm meaning by that at some point. But for now, what was I saying? Even though I regained all my memory, and memory, in fact, accessing my own memory banks, and even the memory banks of, other structures and persons, became kind of like a superpower for me, really. I do still have a problem with my short-term memory, and it's a predicament that I need to figure out how to solve. I have a new doctor who's helping me out. I've had psychiatric workers, psychotherapists, you could say, that have been helping me out with this problem. And so far, it's been fairly successful. But I run into trouble sometimes, like this past week I ran into trouble when I switched over to my next doctor. There was a whole slew of problems that transpired there that had me kind of shut down for a whole week. And for you guys, a week may be just, a walk in the park, it breeze right by. But for me, a week of downtime, being unable to do the work that I feel I need to do, that I do need to do, it's hell on earth, man. It goes on and on and on, and that's really the point. Is that in engaging this, in realizing that I had learned how to warp time in that way, and engaging the training of it, I never actually considered the potential negative side effects of it. And it's gotten to the point where at times when I am actually wasting time and unable to make proper use of it, I haven't figured out kind of how to put it back, how to shrink it back to normal. And so it just stretches on and on. And, insofar as concerns the actual methodology of the training I've used to do it, it would seem to imply that it's not actually possible, or probable at least, to put it back to normal. So I kind of stuck myself, which I have to say, if you wish to learn to get more, achieve more, accomplish more in shorter spans of time, and do just generally uh, access more time itself and stretch out time for yourself, I can teach you to do that. If you ask me to, I will be more than happy to, and I can do it very quickly because I'm moving very fast. But I'm not sure that I could personally advise it, considering that I haven't figured out how to switch it back yet, and you could get stuck that way just like me. In any case, that's kind of a short introduction to a part of the introduction to myself. But this video is intended to be an introduction, considering that uh, it it occurs to me that through engaging other social media outlets, which I had never used the internet before this past year at all. When my memory came back to me after my little accident, and I began to build the initiative, and I just jumped in. I dove into the deep end and started working everything I could with the internet as best I could, and I have guidance in that regard, but I'm doing it to the best of my abilities, and I continue to expand every day. But I'd never, like, the most I'd ever used the internet before that time was like looking up how to get through the last dungeon in Zelda at the library or something. I had never used the internet at all. It was kind of like a far-fetched idea to me. Even I didn't really understand the concept of it. Like full access to everything, bullshit, right? I still use books at the library. Anyways, um, it occurs to me that having become active with all these different social media outlets and all these different communities, that it's likely that a lot of the people that might wind up coming to this channel may not be involved with the initiative at all, and have just not even know anything about it. So I wanted to just introduce myself as the host of this channel, as well as the director of the initiative, and kind of explain who and what I am, so that hopefully I can give you an idea personally, firsthand, of myself, that you might understand me well before we continue with this investigation. Because there's an instance where I have to say two major topics at hand to define myself. With the initiative, we have a protocol, and anyone who's involved with the initiative and know me personally, you know full well that not only do I want to be helpful, can I be helpful, not only is it just every breath I take is meant for you guys. Nothing else matters. Everything I do is for you guys in every regard, and that's all I care about. Not only do you know that I can be helpful and wish to, and it makes me happy to, but that you can absolutely trust me. And anyone who knows me knows that you can trust me, and that I'm undyingly loyal to people. Which it's not really, I'm not trying to put myself up on some kind of a pedestal here. We have a threefold protocol act in operation, in active use. Protocol 1, do not harm, which do not harm is, we the primary objective of our training as spotters and especially as operatives of the initiative is mind control, to control our own minds and thereby control our bodies, our actions, our lives, our realities. And so, one of the objectives therein would be to achieve such a level of control as to prevent yourself from causing damage to people or anything in general. We don't want to harm anyone. I mean, obviously, we don't want anyone to be harmed because A, it's just generally shitty, and B, we understand them as being a part of ourselves. We are all part of each other. And so we don't want to damage ourselves. We don't want to damage other people. And we want to be able to control ourselves to the extent of stopping ourselves from causing damage when we get the urge to, if it comes to that. B, second protocol 2, do not lie, is it's not really, do not lie is not a measure of some kind of ethical morality or anything. There it really is no objective morality in play. That's there is no objective ethical concept at all. We make our everyone has their personal ethical systems and levels of morality, conscience, so to speak. So that protocol, it's not a matter of ethics or morality, it's a matter of practicality, because we work with synchronicity. Spotters work with synchronicity. The initiative works with synchronicity. That's our guiding influence. If you don't understand what that is, or you never heard of it, again, I can teach you all about it if you ask me to, or you can look it up. Carl Jung's concept of or theory of synchronicity, and then The Celestine Prophecy by James Redfield is a book that will not only actually teach you how to engage synchronicities, but will cause for synchronicities to present themselves to you as you read the book. If you actually put forth any effort to be, any interest in it, if you invest your time in this book, it will actually present these opportunities to learn it firsthand as you read it. So that's just in case you don't know what synchronicity is. But we follow synchronicity. It is the world guiding us, the guiding influence in the world, the actual God presence guiding us through life and presenting us with what opportunities and challenges are necessary for us to progress. So the case as it stands is that if you lie about yourself, if you're dishonest, your brain cannot. The brain is the primary tool that you're using to operate time, which is also a tool, a resource technology. Time itself is our resource technology, and the brain is pretty much the system, the computer system, and the control panel that you use to make use of that resource. And the brain cannot tell the difference between what is imagined and what is actually happening. The brain cannot at all distinguish between what is rock solid right in front of you or what you are remembering, as bringing up as an item of memory, because there really is no difference. So if you lie about yourself, if you're dishonest, your brain's going to use that lie to present yourself to the world, and the world is going to react to the lie. If you present a fraudulent version of yourself, the world's going to provide you with a destiny suited to that fake you. So it's imperative that we remain entirely visible to the world by being open and honest, so that we can be guided properly to our actual necessities and requirements, to our actual desires, and just our personal goals. And then 3, do not divide, is because we need each other, and as I was just saying, it's not just I need you guys, I need all of you guys, every one of you. I need your help, I need you with me, and I'm trying to do something very important here, and I need you guys on my back. So we need to be working together. It's a mutually beneficial insistence or occurrence and situation, because the fact as it stands is that you need me too, whether you want to admit it or not, whether you like the idea of it or not. You need me as well, because I don't see, I've been all over the place, I look around a lot, and I do not see a whole slew of other people who are actually on the level. and presenting you with what is actually required for us to move forward and to accomplish the goals that need to be accomplished in order for us to succeed in the game of life as it stands, which we are now at a point in our evolution as a global community wherein we really need to be absolutely successful here or we are going to ultimately fail. And that's why the initiative is here. So, you know, when I say that I need you guys, it's because I need you guys with me. I need your help. We all need to be working together. When I say that you need me, believe me, you may not like it, and it may sound as though I'm trying to be narcissistic or something, but I can't see many other people out there who have acquired the values I have that are required for you to unlock parts of yourself that are necessary here. So we need each other. It's mutually beneficial. Ultimately, what I'm trying to say here is that it's not the initiative and this channel and every endeavor I engage. It's not really an altruistic consideration. It's very self-serving. You know, it's a selfish endeavor. It's self-centered. I'm trying to help myself, but because I want to live and I want my world to thrive. I want my people to thrive, and B, I don't want to not live and not thrive. And I do not want to see the world fall into chaos, disorder, and then eventual demise. So I'm really looking forward to engaging the opportunities that will begin to present themselves when we are, in fact, unified and working together as a unified, organization, as it were. A network. When the network gets up and running at full steam, things are going to start happening that are new to the human experience, and I'm very, very, I'm excited and anxious to see that happen. But we need to make it happen. We cannot sit on our asses and just hope for it. We can't sit around and pray. We can't light candles and chant. We have to take action, and we have to be taking action together. So that's my beat. That's what I'm all about. And where it comes to me directing, as I just said, I had directed you in a certain way just a few moments ago, and told you that in fact I am qualified to do so. I recently acquired values and assessments in general that unlocked understandings for myself that made me aware of the fact that I am in fact uniquely qualified for the role that I've taken up. And it's for various reasons, but mainly one, having unlocked all the experiences that I did, all the memory that I unlocked, it becomes glaringly, uh, I become glaringly aware of the fact that I've been through just about everything. At hell and high water, I've been through the most disparaging, desperate, desolate, fucking, just, totally exhausting and embarrassing and humiliating and just downright awful and dangerous and just bottom line hitting rock bottom sort of scenario experiences. I've been through it all, and it'll this factor that I have these experiences equipped in my mental inventory allows for me to relate to all of you on a personal level and empathize with you in such a way as to assist you, because I've been through it. I have overcome these challenges and I do know how to, and I can help you do that. And it's just nothing makes me feel better than to actually go ahead and help you guys do that. So please feel free to contact me if you need anything at all. I can help you out with it. I've been there. Trust me. Whatever it is. And that's one factor that qualifies me for the role of director. Another factor was brought to light by my roommate, who has really gone out of his way to just make every possible attempt at just shitting all over my life and just fucking up every potentiality I have, for the most part attempting to ensure that I fail in every regard, making sure that I feel as bad as he can possibly make me feel. And this time in particular, what had just happened, the reason why there's such a spam between the videos here and why I had to delete the previous video, is because he actually hit me so hard. Richard, if you're watching, you did actually go ahead and kick me right in the fucking nuts, steel-toed boots on. This time you hit me hard enough to put me down for a minute, and kudos to you for doing it. It's a tough thing to do. I'm a tough motherfucker, not gonna fucking, you know, talk up to myself, but you know, and please keep in mind here, people, that I'm not trying to put myself on some kind of a pedestal here. As I said, everything that we do is entirely self-serving. We all just want to succeed on our own personal levels, but you know, as I said, my team seems to lose track or lose sight of the fact that this work is in fact, and you know, everybody has a whole hell of a lot of important things they need to be doing with their time and with their lives. I know, you know, jobs, family, personal issues, you know, home life, what have you. But this is to be regarded as one of those important things, and in fact, engaging this and actually investing the time to learn from this will allot for you to improve your ability to engage the rest of your life. It will enhance your ability to easily overcome the other challenges that present themselves. And it will actually allow for you to accumulate extra time and make better use of your life in general. So, you know, I understand that you're kind of busy with other things, but you don't really have to put much time into this. All you have to do is put some time into this on a regular basis, and I promise you that it will improve everything else that you need to be doing. In any case, uh, Richard hit me so hard this time, my roommate hit me so hard this time that it brought me to a place in myself, in my personal experience, that made me aware of a certain value I had missed, that which is that I do in fact identify with the God character, as it were. You know, the mythical Jesus character, whether we regard him to be myth or man, the story of Jesus and who and what he is. Primarily, the idea is that Jesus went around telling everybody, "You and I are the same. You are the same as me. You can do as I have done. You are all gods. We are all gods, and we can all accomplish just as I have done." And you know, I got it's the same fucking ordeal for me, where I go around telling all of you guys exactly what I just said. Put some effort into engaging this, and you can gain the kind of ground that I have gained, and you can achieve, you know, the ability to stretch out your time, to accomplish more things, to be more excellent and more effective in your life in every possible way. And while you do it, you'll feel much better about everything. You wouldn't believe how much better you'll feel about yourself and everything you do if you do in fact engage this in that way. And I go around trying to tell everybody, you can do exactly as I have done too, and nobody listens. And it's just like the story of Jesus, where in fact not only did nobody listen to what he had to say in that regard, but the actual religion that spurned or spawned from his teachings or his sacrifice actively indoctrinates their people, and in fact the whole world, to entirely disregard that sentiment altogether. The one primary teaching that Jesus tried to get across to people, you know, considering Jesus to have been a real person, whether he was or not, the character exists, the story exists, and the one fucking primary teaching he tried to get across was that I'm not better than you. You can do what I have done. You just need to try. You have that potential. And nobody listened. Everybody said Jesus is the Messiah. Jesus is the prophet. Jesus is this great God figure, wherein, you know, that's not the case. Jesus said, every fucking one of you are the same as me. You just got to get up and go. And and not only do they not do it, do you not do it, most of you, not talking to you particularly, but society in general, not only do you not do that, but you actively ignore it. And you don't even make an attempt at examining the fact that you actively ignore it. You know, this would be the aspect of an aspect of meditation that you could use as a practical daily meditation. Is try and take a step back and examine yourself. Like when you're watching this video right now, if you're still watching this, take a step back and examine how you feel about it, what you're thinking about it, and then ask yourself why. Why am I thinking these things? Why am I feeling these things? What is my actual consideration to this. And do that with everything. Examine how your body and your brain reacts to things, because it is a machine and it is programmed, and it has been programmed by influences that want to keep you distracted. So anyways, I can identify with Jesus in that regard, because I'm telling you, you can do the same things I've done. You can kick ass and you can accomplish so much. All of you have so much potential, and it's right in front of your face every moment. B, I identify with the actual realistic God figure, in the sense that regardless of how I present myself, what I say about myself, what I actually do, regardless of the example that I set about who and what I am, people will just kind of do just not people do not believe that I'm real. They don't believe that I exist. It's like, right now you're very likely very highly believing, or very you're likely believing right now that what I've said to you is somehow bullshit, or that I'm in some way lying to you somehow, or what have you, that I'm bullshitting you somehow, whereas the fact is I'm not. And most people are going to go ahead and just not even believe that I'm a real person. They don't believe that I'm real or that I exist. And at the same time, they'll even go so far as to go right ahead and see fit to make up a whole story in their minds about who they think I should be, and give me a life story and a precedent, and give me a personality that they designate based on their interpretation of who they think I should be from their point of view. And then they'll go ahead and believe it. They'll wholeheartedly believe the bullshit imaginary story that they make up about me, whereas I'm actively presenting my reality to you very visibly. And it's just, on one hand, it's kind of laughable, though embarrassing, sort of, in a way. While on the other hand, it's very depressing and melancholy. But anyways, that's most especially to iterate. My roommate is the one who does it. That's why that I unlock that certain values, because that's precisely what he does. In his mind, I'm a useless bum who will never accomplish anything, because I was in a lot of trouble when he met me. I was homeless. I was shit out of luck. I had lost one of my jobs. The other job wasn't paying enough. I just was in bad shape, and I was beaten up from fucking overuse of alcohol. And that's how he sees me. I'm always going to be a useless bum in his mind, and nothing will ever change that. And no matter what I do, he's always going to look down on me from his high horse, whereas he is, in fact, by a great stretch, one of the very stupidest people I've ever met. Richard, I'm sorry if you're watching this, but it's the simple fact of the matter. You are, by and large, one of the very most lacking of intelligence sort of people. I mean, you understand how to do one thing with your life, and you've done it over and over again for a very long time, but insofar as understanding yourself, and understanding other people, understanding life in general, and comprehending how to behave properly in order to improve your life and just generally be a better person, you're brain dead. You're blind. You don't have a fucking clue, and it's outrageous anymore. And I'm not going to hold back on it, because you went ahead and you crossed that line the other night. You crossed a line that there's no coming back from. So from here on, I'm going to be very honest with you. You are, in fact, the dumbest fucking person I've ever known in my life. God help me, I do sincerely love you, and I care about you deeply, and I want so much to help you. In fact, that's the reason that I'm with you. That's the reason we live together. That's the reason we met, was so that you could save me and I could save you in exchange. But you're clueless, and you have that cognitive dissonance. Not to mention, on top of it, you have the alcoholism bolstering it. In any case, that's all the time I have. I just wanted to go ahead and introduce myself to this channel, to the people who watch this channel, in case you're not involved with the initiative. That's who I am. I'm sorry that I had to do this, and I did not conclude the next video, but I will do that very shortly, as soon as I can get this one uploaded and erase it. So thank you very much for watching. I love you guys very much, and I have the highest hopes for all of you. Kila Salai Teriyuni Siari Namaste.